You guys don't have to wait around. You could go check on Malcolm, I offered as we entered the basement of the Straight Lane Apartments, where all my netrunning stuff was kept. Malcolm is asleep, and Dr. Vic doesn't want us bothering him. Besides, we can help you like last time. Go through data while you keep up the hunt. Ichi replied, and I didn't have a response for that. I felt bad that my chums would be hanging around me while I was basically sleeping, while leaving Malcolm alone. Especially with how antsy Ichi was to help. It's fine, Motoko. The sooner we find these fucks, the sooner we kill them and let Malcolm sleep like a baby. Hiromi reminded me, and I nodded as I clambered onto my netrunning chair. I pulled out the chair's connectors and fitted them into my leotard so the biomonitors would keep an eye on me, and the coolant could flow, then rested back. Okay. I'll see you later, I told them and closed my eyes. Only to open them in my blank lobby space. It only took me a moment to adjust, and then I was off, zipping through the city in a blur as I used the IP address of all the systems I had been scanning back at the attack site to practically teleport there. Then I set foot onto the Netscape and went to work. First I accessed the cafe that was across the street, breaking through their eyes with only a few moments of work since their system wasn't especially well protected. I ignored the connection to the other netrunner I had noticed before, and instead accessed their camera. Only 5 minutes into entering the net I got my eyes on the fuckers that shot Malcolm. It was hard to miss. The 4 street thugs all charging through the alley, one still holding a pistol in his hand as they clambered into a rust bucket Archer Heller. Then they took off with a jerky motion as they seemed to forget to release the parking brake before slamming the gas. Part of me was still furious at these fucks, but... Malcolm? Really, Chum? You trusted that these fucking gonks had a fucking supercar for sale? They didn't look like they had double XL burrito to their name. I sent a note for Ichi to ask Malcolm for more details on why he trusted these guys in the first place. These guys were just thugs. Chav. I refused to believe Malcolm was that stupid. Okay, he had gone without backup. So maybe he was a little brain dead, but I refused to believe he was this stupid. But they had given me what I needed. A direction. The Archer Heller we are looking for is heading east on Lele. Towards. Party? Yeah. Is there a freeway connection there? I asked my team as I started going down the street, checking if there was a good corner store with a camera on the intersection. No freeway connection there. They would have to go south and then get on from the Republic Way connection. Hiromi replied after a moment, and I nodded. Okay, let's cut down on what paths they could take, and track them home. 2 hours later I pulled out of the net to take a break. I hadn't exactly eaten today, and Hiromi and Ichi were both getting hungry. We had tracked the fuckers through Charter Hill, into Haywood of all places. I had thought they might be connected to the Tinos. But then as they moved through the area they turned east. Into Arroyo. Then into Rancho Coronado. 6th St. I lost them multiple times in the area. Unfortunately, the industrial parks giving way to suburbs cut out a lot of my ability to snoop. Oh. Thanks, Ichi. I chirped as I finally opened my eyes to reality to see Ichi had obviously gone on a food run at some point. No problem. There wasn't much we could do to help there at the end, he said, stuffing a piece of some noodle dish into his mouth. Yeah. Rancho Coronado is a bit of a dead zone, I grumbled. Sure, there were still security cameras in the area, but they were few and far between, and worse, some were pointing just at the front door, or at places I couldn't use. So what do you think? Hiromi asked, and I grumbled a bit as I sat and stuffed my own little meal into my mouth so I wouldn't have to speak at first. Rancho is 6th Street. If the guys fled there, they are probably 6th St., or maybe they are an offshoot gang or something. We either go and start hunting them down, or maybe see if we can't use some diplomacy. Reach out to 6th St., might be able to find out who they are that way. You think 6th Street would give up info on one of their own to us? Ichi asked, obviously skeptical, and I shook my head. No, I don't. Which means we are probably going to have to hunt them down, in the middle of gang territory. This is gonna be a pain. We could try and lure them out? Hiromi asked, and I shrugged. I don't think that will work, Hiromi. However Malcolm contacted them, they aren't going to respond through those methods. Especially if they suspect Malcolm isn't dead. Think about it. They wanted his eddies. If they have even a single brain cell, they will realize a teenager flashing that kind of money probably has people that will kill them to get a paycheck. True. They're gonna suspect someone is coming to kill them. I blinked. Yeah. They will. They will suspect someone is going to try and hunt them down. Hiromi, you are very smart, I told her, and she looked questioning at me. People in Night City were pretty direct. Normally if something like this happened, and Malcolm was some corpo kid, they would hire a merc. The merc would try to hunt them down, succeed or not, and that would basically be it. Once the merc failed to find them, then the fuckers would be safe from retaliation. Wasn't like a merc was going to get paid if they found them a week after pissing off the guy hiring them by failing. Hiromi continued to look confused at my words. But while she hadn't said anything genius herself, it was actually very accurate. If they suspected someone was coming for them, then that's what we would show them. We are going to trick them. They are probably hiding right now, deep in some hole. It won't be easy to find them, and even if we do, we will have to deal with 6th Street getting involved. But if we convince them that they got away with it, if they think they are all clear, they will stop hiding. Then we won't have to hunt them down through 6th Street territory. We will just invite them to a nice little deal and remove them then. So you go and pretend to look for them? Ichi asked, and I shook my head. No, I won't be a good choice. I'm weird cause I'm so young. Besides, I was trying to take a break this week anyways. Better to get someone that looks like a merc, give 6th Saint exactly what they suspect to see. That way they won't react strongly. Just another merc searching for someone for a bounty before giving up. So we hire someone to pretend to look for them just to give up? Ichi asked, looking a little unhappy with it. Exactly. We hire a merc for an easy few days of fucking around in Rancho Coronado, pretending to find our boys. And then he gives up, once he stops showing up. Obviously he couldn't find them, and so everyone in the area will know that he gave up, and that solves the whole problem. Wait, but who? Are you going to ask June or Fujimura-sama to hire a merc? Nah. I know a guy, I said and grinned as I started making a call to Jackie. A week or so contract to hang around Rancho Coronado, eat on my dime, and make a half-hearted attempt to find the 4 gonks. Jackie would probably be all for it. Plus it was a perfect excuse to go home and relax for a while like I planned before Malcolm got shot. I breathed in and out. Yeah, I still needed that break. After making a call and setting up the whole situation with Jackie, he ended up agreeing, laughing the whole time at the idea. I was just glad he was willing to do it, for less than normal merc money. I mean, sure I could pay him fully, but this should be a pretty safe gig. Although I did offer a hazard pay if 6th Street did try to jump him or something. Until then we all went to Vic's. He's still sleeping, he assured us, patting Ichi on the shoulder as the boy had instantly walked over to Vic for an update about his best tune. Is there anything we can do? Just keep quiet and let him rest. He'll be fine. Everything is stable, and he is mostly just recovering blood and healing a bit. I shot him up with quick heal and everything. The boy'll be on his feet in a week like nothing happened. Ichi gave out a shuddered sigh at the words, his shoulders almost trembling as Vic patted the Section 9 jacket that we were all still wearing. I mouthed a thank you to Vic as Hiromi and I braced Ichi. Hiromi pressed her forehead against the side of his head, while I reached over and ran a hand through Ichi's dark hair. I'll be okay, he said a little grumpily a few moments later when he realized both of us girls were being gentle with him. We know, I said, and Hiromi agreed. Ichi stood straight, annoyingly taller than I was, and wiped our affection off of him like it was covered in cooties. He would be okay, and so would Malcolm. I flopped onto the couch at home a few hours later. Vic had eventually sent us all home to rest, agreeing he would text us when Malcolm woke up. Rolling sideways, I looked at the new holo TV and stared at it. It was too high up. The old TV was just on a table across the room and was a little above head height when on the couch. The holo TV had the display way up towards the ceiling. It made my neck hurt to look so high up while sprawled out. Probably some corpo plan with Biotechnica to sell more BioWare next to people or something. I rolled my face into the couch. Maybe a good 8 hours of sleep would help. I faintly felt a thump of bass through the couch. Reaching down, I placed a chrome finger against the floor. Even with the carpet, I could feel the faintest hint of vibrations there. Rockaboy Neighbor was playing again. My guitar was over there. It would be something to do. Get out some of the frustration I've been dealing with. I fumbled across the couch without actually getting up until I reached my guitar and flopped onto my back so I could rest it on my stomach. That didn't really feel right either. In the end, I rolled off the couch, laying back on the carpet, feet resting on the couch like I was sitting backwards. Yeah, that felt better. Everything felt upside down to me right now. Stupid Night City. Stupid scavs. And June and fuckers shooting my tune. It was an annoying fact that as much as I wanted to just play in Night City like it was a video game, if I did that, people I loved would die. Or I would. My hand strummed a chord. Then, because I simply knew which chord to use, I changed it and then strummed the beginnings to a song. You don't want to hurt me. Edge Runners was right about one thing. We are only here once. Why blame yourself? Major Crimes, by Health. It suited my mood at the moment. Motoko. I'm home, whoa. June yelped as I poked my head over the couch. It had been a few hours of sad songs, and I was surprisingly feeling a lot better. Hey June. Geez, don't scare me like that. Oh, playing some songs? Yeah, I've been feeling a little down and stuff with everything. So I'm letting out the bad stuff. It's going okay. I chirped as I laid the guitar on the couch and flipped up to see what June was up to. He had a bag of something that didn't smell like XXL burritos in his arms. Yeah, I noticed. How's your tune? Malcolm will be okay. I got him to Vic in time, I said, not mentioning how absolutely terrified I had been that I wouldn't be in time. That despite everything I would make it. I was suddenly so incredibly grateful for my system once again. I wouldn't have to worry about nightmares. I'm glad. I got you something, he said, and to my surprise he opened the bag and it was ramen. The ramen we always bought from the shop in Sakura Market. The ramen stand that wasn't super far from here, but more than far enough you wouldn't just stop by for ramen that could get closer. June? I noticed you've been upset, and then today happened too, he said simply as he settled the ramen bowls on the couch center table. I know I pushed you into moving. I think I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think it was the best idea at the time. For safety, and just how big it is, but I know I pushed you on it, he said, before closing his eyes and breathing in and out, as if calming his mind. So I wanted to do something to make you feel normal. He pushed the ramen over to me and I looked at it. June was such a gonk, I thought, definitely not seeing him through a bit of blurriness around the edges of my vision. You are such a gonk, I told him as I walked over and threw my arms around his neck. I wasn't crying, June was crying. He had faulty chrome for his optic lubricants. It was raining inside. I got something stuck in my eye. Ignoring the fact I could poke my Kiroshi and not really be bothered by something like that. Stupid June. Thank you for going along with it, and I'm sorry it wasn't what you wanted. Hopefully we can make this place our home. And you'll end up loving it even more. It certainly smells better. He muttered the end and I laughed, definitely not choking a bit on a sob. The carpet is nice too, I informed him. The fridge is bigger. Oh, the bathroom has better hot water. We went on and on telling each other good things about the new apartment, falling into the little game without even needing to discuss it, pure sibling camaraderie in action. It was nice. I even forgave him for the already cold ramen when I tried it. Turns out his kusanagi isn't exactly great for keeping ramen warm on the cooling nights of Night City. I ate it anyway though. What are you doing? I asked June in the morning. I had slept, but June as usual slept in, but then to my surprise he came out of his room dressed in well, athletic clothes. Hitting the gym. You? I couldn't help but ask in surprise. June was. He was a lazy teenager given crow muscles. He didn't exercise. At least not that I've ever seen. I go to the gym. He hissed every bit the offended teenager, but then hesitated before admitting Sensei told me I've let the normal muscles I've got left grow a bit weak. So I've been informed to work out until he is satisfied. I blinked. He looked away grimacing, because we both knew what was going to happen next. PFFFT. Can't be a big scary only if you are fat. I mocked in delighted laughter, making June's shoulders slump at my words. I knew it. I knew this was going to happen, but I answered anyways. Why did I answer? June muttered to himself, but I heard him. So where you going? Is there a good gym around here? I asked because honestly, I could use my downtime to get another body level. That actually sounded like fun. I've been a bit in the dumps, but exercise was good for that. There's a TC gym, yeah. Want to come? He offered and I instantly frowned at him. I really didn't. On the other hand, if there was a gym in the building I wouldn't have to pay for that corpo gym anymore. Wait. I haven't been there in months. Shit, I had to cancel. Fucking gym membership. Sure. I agreed, heading into my room with a quick flip over the back of the couch to get changed. The gym was actually just outside the apartment complex. There was a little path and then what used to be a basketball court? Or maybe a tennis court. I couldn't tell, but now it was full of workout equipment. And TC grunts using it. June walked in without a moment's hesitation. Because to him these were his people. I took a moment to scope it out a bit first. Looking over the group. There were currently about 5 people using the equipment, all of which gave June a greeting as he entered. I idly wondered how it worked. Were these guys Fujimura's people as well, or just well aware that June was kamikaze and so being careful? In the end it didn't matter. I didn't get the greetings June did, but no one bothered me as I found some free weights and loaded some pounds on the pole, before settling into a corner to do some squats. I started with squats mostly so I could keep an eye on the area. I would have to switch to something else eventually if someone noticed that I was going overboard. There were too many people around for me to just work through a single machine or exercise until I got my alerts. You a new kid? A rough voice asked and I looked up into an old man's face. Grayed beard and old chrome. It was the first thing I thought when I looked up into his eyes. This was a man that survived in Night City. He was shirtless as he had obviously been exercising, the wraps on his hands reminding me that I had seen him on a punching bag a few moments before. Old tattoos stretched across his chest and back. This man would be a Yakuza if he wasn't very obviously a Tiger Claw. Yeah, just moved in. I informed him as I continued my reps up and down. Then you're the Kusanagi girl. Well, you got good form. Keep it up. I'm John, this is my gym. If you need a partner for anything ask me. I'll help, or find someone who can. Don't break anything, no fighting in the gym. Good? Perfectly. I offered the old man. As I continued up and down, I needed to push myself if I was going to get a body alert. Or eventually a level up. I was still a long way off. Not enough really pushing my body to the limit since I stopped actively exercising. The older man watched for a moment before nodding, seemingly pleased at my exercise, and then turned to walk off. A few moments later he was critiquing a teenage boy for fucking around with his own free weights. It always made me wonder what I should feel when someone among the TC treated me normally. These were the same guys that worked with Jotaro. That committed horrible crimes. I sighed. This was Night City, I suppose. I used June as a measuring stick, switching to a new exercise whenever he did. Since despite all his chrome, my brother was a bit out of shape. Too many burritos. My calves and thighs were burning, but it felt good because I had gotten a few body alerts as I exercised as well. Then, considering most of the stuff was already claimed, I walked up to the punching speed bag. The small bag wasn't my usual go-to for exercises, but that actually worked to my benefit. I had done punching machines and such before, but never a speed bag. Although with my chrome arms I wasn't sure if I would actually get much out of it. I wasn't exactly working muscles with my arms, but I wanted to try it anyway. Plus it was free. I stretched my legs, bouncing a bit to work out the tired muscles as I walked up and hit the bag. It flopped fast, too fast. I had vague memories of seeing people use the thing in the past, and I had even seen John use it as I walked in. I held back and struck it again. It bounced and flopped much more controllably. Better. A voice startled me and I looked back to see the old TC man himself. 3 count. Like this. He informed me, walking up and striking the bag once, letting it 3 times before he struck it again, and instantly there was a balance. He stopped right after. Try again. I shrugged, a tap of my fist, and I waited. Then struck again. Then again. I got the pace down nearly instantly. Good. Now SW. I had already switched hands, starting to shift which hand struck the back, constantly changing the number of hits, and adjusting. Huh? You pick things up quick. He complimented, and I shrugged as I moved. I know how to fight pretty well, used some punching machines before, just never a speed bag. I informed him. Show me. He demanded as he walked over behind the speed bag for a set of mitts. He slipped them on and waved me over. I sighed. I was kinda just wanting to do my own thing. But I shrugged and walked over. And then we started. I punched out and struck his mitts as he moved, and I moved with him, following him around, striking the mitts, even dodging his telegraphed swipes as I fell into the rhythm, and I could see him testing me. Starting slow before going faster and faster, telegraphing less and less to see where I stood. Finally I had to block his mitt as I leapt back to keep from getting smacked in the face, and he nodded. You are not bad, kid. Who trained you? No one really. For this anyways. Sensei at the D'Ravia dojo worked with me on some sword stuff. He scoffed at my words as he looked me over. Well, you either had years of training or you're a natural. The second actually. June said suddenly as he walked over and pulled me in by the shoulder. Ew. June. You sweat beast. Gross. I cursed at him as he had pulled me right into his stinky armpit. June, of course realizing what he had done, just laughed at my horror as I wiped at my shoulder. Kusanagi. John. June greeted back, before nodding his head at me. My sister is a genius. Most of the time anyways. Gonk. I retorted, flashing a little at being complimented. I mean, if you were going by how quickly I could learn something thanks to my system, I would be a super genius. But I also kinda wasn't. So it was a bit embarrassing to be complimented for something that wasn't really true, but something I couldn't really argue. Huh? Well, she got some good hands. John offered, complimenting my punching skill. But I couldn't let that setup go. Bought them myself. I retorted a little sarcastically, earning a blink from the older man before he actually let out a deep chuckle. Got me there, kid. Got me there. You done already, Kusanagi? John asked, and June shrugged. I can't wear myself out. I have work tonight. Both of us looked to June with eyes filled with disappointment. Don't get fat, June knee. I'm not fat. He actually shouted, and everyone looked at him. June had that moment of realization that he had spoken a little too loud. I'm not fat. He poked me with a finger, but in the end he did turn around and go work on a treadmill sort of thing for a while. Dash. Have fun? June asked as we both headed up on the elevator. Exercise isn't really fun to me. I answered. Sure, I had eventually forgiven John for bothering me when he pulled me into some more exercises that had pulled another body alert from my system. I enjoyed the results, but the act itself was mostly just drudgery. If not for Cool keeping me on task, I probably would have stopped long before even June. Although, it was kinda nice though to get my muscles burning again. Hey. You had a happy look on your face though? I did not. Oh, I see. John is married, you know? What? John. What? You like Hold? I punched him instantly for daring to utter such lies. I do not like older guys. I yelled as the elevator door opened and into the face of the woman that was standing there. The woman was wearing a cool leather-like jacket, neon lights lighting it up in a strobe effect, her hair glowing to a musical beat that she was also nodding her head to. She had a guitar strapped over her back, and as I looked on, she blew a bubble of pink bubble gum and popped it. She was, in one word, cool. And probably rockaboy neighbor. Nice guitar. I offered, unable to say anything else. I recognized the model from the music shop, although I couldn't remember the name. I wasn't exactly an instrument hound after all. It does what I need. She muttered coolly, hip cocked to the side and looking us over. Although I noticed her eyes were mostly on June. June, right? You just moved in. She greeted, her eyes practically flashing. Yeah. Nice to meet you, he said, still fighting off chuckles at my previous yell. Preem. You should come see the show sometime. She offered and reached into her guitar bag and pulled out a leaflet. TC get a discount, she added, and June took the leaflet. I stood up on my tiptoes to take a look. Huh? Apparently the girls' band, Violent Hemorrhage, was playing at a club not far from here. There was a picture of the girl herself, obviously the lead, on the leaflet. Cool, I muttered, because it was pretty cool. I wonder what kind of music she played? Maybe we could jam together sometime? I haven't had the chance to play with someone else yet. I might show up, June offered, and the girl smirked, and I instantly realized she was flirting. Gross. She was flirting with June. Why were all of these girls interested in June? He was a burrito addict. And he throws his socks everywhere. What kind of music do you play? I asked, looking towards the girl, and she just scoffed. Should be fairly obvious, no? The Violent Hemorrhage play neo-rock electro smash. What the hell is neo-rock smash? I asked instantly, because suddenly I felt like I was in the mid-2000s again and everyone was talking about new rave hyperpop synth electro clash. Or something similarly gibberish. The girl looked like she was going to say something biting, but June was right there, and she smoothed out and instead just spoke with the most syrupy sweet voice. Maybe just stick with pop. Okay, cool girl. First off, no one tells me to listen to pop music. Secondly, this means war. My narrowed eyes obviously spoke my intent, because she just rolled her eyes and looked to June. See you around, Kusanagi, she said, sounding very sultry, and she sashayed into the elevator past us, pointedly almost rubbing against June as they nearly jostled at the entrance, and then the elevator shut. I don't like Rockaboy Neighbor, I said instantly, to make sure June wasn't getting any weird ideas. Like sexual interest. She's a bit rude, yeah. He agreed, and I smiled at him for saying what I wanted. June could find way better girls than her. Even if she was cool. And she had that don't fuck with me attitude that was pretty awesome. Stupid cool rocker boys. But I would rather June get with Akari. Or Rita. Rita was a good choice. Better than cool rocker boy girl. I was gonna wipe that stupid smug smirk off her face. I decided right then. I'm gonna go take a shower and practice, I told June, and started for the apartment. Practice what? He asked, following after as I stomped off. Music, of course. Of course. It was only mid-shower that I remembered that Malcolm was injured, and I took a moment to cool my irritation at Rockaboy Girl to put that to the side, so I could get ready and go to hang out with Malcolm. Because my tune was more important. Of course I wasn't the only visitor as I stomped down the stairs to Vic's clinic. Ichi had finally been told to go home that morning apparently, but Hiromi was there when I stepped down into Vic's clinic. Motoko. Hey Hiromi. Hey Malcolm, how you feeling? I asked as I walked over to where the two were hanging out, pulling off my guitar and setting my music box to the side so I could give some hugs to my tunes. Malcolm still rested on the ripper chair Hiromi pulled up next to him with a tablet in her hands. It only took me a moment to realize the two of them were playing games. Or, Hiromi had come to play video games with Malcolm. I kept the laughter of delight on the inside as I pulled up a chair to watch the two playing the game. And instantly wanted to die. The game was shit. Garbage. Full of microtransactions, and the screen was at least 40% ads built into the HUD. I could feel my soul leaving my body as the two were happily playing as if this was acceptable. I couldn't make heads or tails of the actual gameplay. It looks sort of like a Farmville clone. But there weren't plants. Instead I realized what it was when Hiromi pulled up a menu and I saw the name of the game. Corporate Commander? Yeah. It's fun. You run a startup corp and have to survive and grow and stuff. Malcolm and I play it sometimes. I figured with him stuck in a chair it was a perfect time to finally kill that bitch Excel Corp. Hiromi, they are obviously more than willing to throw thousands of eddies into the game. I don't think we are going to beat them today. Or ever. Malcolm seemed to remind Hiromi, who pouted and looked angry at the game. Huh, Hiromi was pretty competitive. Motoko. Since you are here, you should join Mitsunashi Industries. We could use a few more subsidiaries. Hiromi said, smiling with a big grin. A feeling struck me. I looked to Malcolm. Hiromi, are you using the fact Malcolm can't run away to force him to help your video game company? No. Never. Malcolm is a proud member of the Mitsunashi Industries conglomerate. That's exactly what is happening. Malcolm offered, instead never taking his eyes off the tablet he was playing on. Hiromi's jaw dropped as she spun towards Malcolm. Malcolm. I couldn't restrain my laughter as Hiromi looked absolutely offended at the reveal. But the fact she ended up looking a little embarrassed after a moment told me it was probably pretty close to the truth anyways. Malcolm looked up and threw me a wink though. So obviously he was cool with it. Hiromi. I trailed off meaningfully and she flushed a little red at the disappointment in my voice. Then I just smiled and threw an arm over her shoulders. Silly gonk. You the gonk. She mumbled but left it at that. What's with the guitar and stuff, Motoko? Malcolm asked and I smiled as I pulled away from Hiromi and grabbed my stuff. Well, obviously with my chum laid up on a ripper chair he would need something to help stave off the boredom. So I figured I could play some music while we hang out. Any requests? I asked him and he perked up a bit at the idea. Then Hiromi cut him off. Wait. You're gonna play for Malcolm? You made such a fuss when I got you to play for June and I? Motoko. No fair. Malcolm is injured. He gets special treatment, Hiromi. I reminded my chum, which she just puffed her cheeks at me pretending to be annoyed, and then we both burst into giggles as one. Malcolm mumbled something I didn't catch, but it sounded like these two gonks. And then he spoke louder. I don't care. I just want to see you play something. You've been all secrety about it. He told me and I laughed. That was pretty true. Fine. Okay, I have a few songs I think you'll like, I said as I grabbed my music box and plugged in. Nirvana should be pretty on point for Malcolm, and I already had Smells Like Teen Spirit finished. So I settled in and after a moment my hands hit the chords. I was doing my best to ignore my chums both staring at me, as the emitters started up and the drums slammed into the intro. As I played through the song, Malcolm seemed into it, nodding his head, while Hiromi was fully engaged, eyes wide, which I noticed as I finally looked up from my guitar and our eyes met. Her face flushed in excitement as I sang for the crowd of two. Ow! Malcolm said, suddenly hissing and wincing as he shifted and moved to hold his side. Malcolm. The song ended instantly. Music box turned off, as I stood up, but he waved me off. I'm fine. I just jerked a bit. I'm okay. Hey. Good song, Motoko. I was getting into a bit too much. He replied and I sat back down with a sigh. Phew. Maybe something more low-key? I asked and Malcolm and Hiromi both shook their heads, Hiromi standing up and pointing. Finish the song, Motoko. Better yet. Start again. Repeat. Put it on loop. PFFT. Ow, Hiromi, don't make me laugh so hard. Malcolm gasped, struggling not to laugh so hard it hurt him. I wouldn't mind hearing it from the start as well. A new voice called out. Hey Vic. I chirped, waving as the Ripper finished walking in. He had been resting against the entranceway listening as the song finished. Motoko, I remember you mentioning picking up the guitar as a hobby, but that was good work there, kid. He said as he walked over and grabbed his chair, rolling over to us once he was down. Well, I'm still learning and everything. I demurred, but Vic's dad energy wasn't going to let me go that easy. Nonsense, that was excellent. What song was that? Never heard that band before. The song was Smells Like Teen Spirit. No band. I mean, I don't have one. Wait. Motoko. You wrote that yourself? Malcolm asked, gasping, and I didn't say anything. I mean, it wasn't like I could say it was Nirvana. They don't exist here. And saying I wrote it was. Yeah, that made me uncomfortable. So I didn't say anything. I'll play it from the start for you, Vic. But just don't tell anyone, okay? It's embarrassing. Vic literally just laughed at me, but he had a big smile, so I forgave him. Then I started playing again. Load up on guns, bring your friends. Dash. It was still a little embarrassing to play songs in front of people, but Malcolm liked the music, and him being hurt was more important. I had taken a few breaks from time to time working on making new songs to my chum's surprise, as I put together an entire song in just an hour or so before putting on a rendition of Lithium Flower. But then I got a call from my current contracted merc. Hang on guys. Got a call. I told my chums, who were distracted with their games anyway. Hey Jackie. How goes? Ho. Easy enough, Amanita. An easy gig is an easy gig. Went around, flashed pictures of your targets. Got a whole lot of runaround stories, but I've spent most of the day eating burgers. Jackie broke into a laugh at that and I smiled along with him. Jackie had of course been the merc that I thought of first when I needed someone to be visibly snooping around Rancho Coronado. Jackie was the perfect fit. Big enough that no one would want to fight him while he was asking questions, friendly enough that the few that did would end up letting it go, especially when he would be very visibly lazily following the requirements to find the gonks. Spending most of his time eating food and hanging out. You sure you don't want me to actually try and find these gonks? I've had a few people hint they wouldn't mind letting me know for a certain amount of eddies. Apparently your targets aren't well liked. Even if one of them is the nephew of some important chum in 6th Street, he said suddenly, and I had to frown at that. I hadn't considered that it might be easy to find them. That 6th Street and the people in the suburbs might not like the gonks. And one of them was highly connected. That did complicate things. Tempting. I finally admitted but shook it off. If you can get the info cheap, then I wouldn't mind. I'll even throw in a bonus, but I don't want you to push too hard. Yeah Manita, I remember your plan. No problem. I'll keep letting everyone think I'm just not that interested, and if I do end up with their location then I'll let you know. How's little Malcolm holding up? I smiled at Jackie's question. He had been pretty mad when he learned Malcolm had been shot. I guess for Jackie just a single gig and then a bar trip was enough to make them chums. Malcolm's okay. Looking better already. Vic says he'll be back on his feet by the end of the week. Good. Glad to hear that, Hermanita. Alright then. I'll update you again tomorrow, but I got a beer and a burger with my name on it, he said, sounding cheerful as the call disconnected. Eventually Malcolm's mother came into the clinic, and despite Hiromi and I's best efforts to stick around to enjoy the look on Malcolm's face, we did eventually have to leave. Malcolm's mom was super embarrassing for him. I think if we hadn't left he might have just finished himself off to save himself the trouble. Unfortunately Hiromi needed to head home. I have homework I've been putting off, and well, Malcolm is a good excuse but my teachers won't accept it, and then my rents will be on my case. She whined at me as we walked over to our cars. I get it. We'll meet up soon. Once Malcolm is feeling better we should all go out and have a night to relax, I offered, and Hiromi seemed to perk up. Yeah. I'll get through this week and then it'll be a party night. I'll find out if there's anything going on this weekend. Be prepared, Matoko. Because I'm going to drag you to the premised places. I just laughed as Hiromi hopped onto her bike and drove off with a waving arm behind her. I slipped into the Quadra and decided to head home. I was still taking a break from anything murdery related, and so I was gonna go flop on the couch. Maybe do some more coding work. No. I shook my head. I'll go hit the gym some more. I could use some mindless exercise time. It had actually been relaxing.